It was supposed to be a celebration, a simple, warm gathering, a toddler turning to, family and friends gathered around, children laughing, the smell of cake and balloons. But in the soft light of the banquet hall, under the decorations and children's laughter, something dark waited, on Saturday evening, as the crowd prepared to cut the cake. The moment froze. Then gunfire ripped through the air, tearing open joy, turning balloons into danger, laughter into screams, and a party into a nightmare. The hall, known as Monkey Space, on Lucille Avenue, was crowded with more than 100 people, relatives, friends, children of all ages, when chaos erupted just before 6 o'clock p.m. In an instant, the banquet meant for cake and cheerful photos became soaked in terror. When the first shots rang out, many survivors recalled thinking the noise was balloons popping. Kids froze mid-smile. Adults ducked for cover. Tables overturned. Chairs clattered to the floor. In the pandemonium, bullets found bodies. Some victims collapsed instantly. Others tried to flee. Some shielded children in closets. Others fell protecting friends. The air filled with shouts, sobs, and the crack of gunfire, the sound no birthday should ever know. When the smoke cleared, law enforcement counted for people dead, including children aged 8, 9, 14, and a 21-year-old adult. At least 11 others were wounded, some critically, spreading fear and grief among the survivors. One of the children killed was Maya Lupian, 8, a bright soul, described by family as loving to dance, draw, full of childhood energy and innocence. Another was Amari Peterson, 14, a young student athlete, full of promise. His parents said he had college dreams, loved sports, and was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. A third child, just 9 years old, also lost their life. The adult victim was Susano Archuleta, 21. Friends and family remember him for kindness, trying to help children hide in a closet before being fatally struck. In the aftermath, the hall, once a place of celebration, was left scarred. Bullet holes in walls, overturned chairs, scattered plates, stunned survivors, parents clutching children in panic. First responders rushing in, wounded faces, sirens, grief. The stark contrast between the innocence of birthday cakes and the horror of gunshots was overwhelming. Families identified their lost loved ones in tearful statements, voices breaking. A mother spoke of her child's laughter, a sister spoke of future dances and dreams, a brother spoke of a man who always helped others, who, moments before the chaos, was laughing with friends. Another family member wept quietly in public, unable to hold back anguish in echoing silence. The joy of what should have been a party was replaced by grief and disbelief. Community members gathered outside the devastated venue and at makeshift memorials, small altars of candles, handwritten notes, children's toys left on sidewalks, bouquets scattered on pavement. Strangers stood shoulder to shoulder, many weeping, many praying, all feeling the loss as if it belonged to them too. Children's party balloons lay deflated in corners, a half-eaten birthday cake set on a table, and touched, its sweetness drowned by tragedy. Law enforcement and investigators declared the attack targeted. The fact that the party was filled with children, families, and peace made the violence even more chilling. Detectives believe there may have been multiple shooters. Families reported they didn't see the shooter clearly, and survivors said the violence came out of nowhere. Authorities issued urgent calls for witnesses. The local sheriff asked anyone with video footage, cell phone recordings, or even partial memory of faces or cars to come forward. A reward has been offered for information leading to arrests, yet as of now, no arrests connected directly to the killings have been made. The guns have not been definitively linked. Suspects remain unidentified. Investigations continue. In the days that followed, Stockton, usually busy, unassuming, felt hollow. Schools lowered flags. Parents held their children close. Playgrounds, once full of laughter, stood silent. Children asked questions adults couldn't answer. Local leaders pledged action, task forces, grief counseling, community solidarity, but for many, the pain felt too raw, too immediate. At the same time, investigators reviewed surveillance footage, witness statements, phone data, and entrance logs to the banquet hall. They traced vehicle movements, cross-checked attendee names. Looked for unusual arrivals, unexpected faces. Anything that could unravel who targeted a children's party and why, each name called. Each photo studied, each frame rewound, all in search of justice. Inside hospital rooms, tears fell not only for the dead, but for the wounded, survivors too young to understand how quickly joy could turn to tragedy. Parents stood vigil at bedsides, clutching hands, praying for recovery, hoping for signs of healing. Outside, the city mourned. Candlelight vigils flickered under cold December skies. Toys were left at memorial sites. People spoke quietly of lost innocence and the fragility of safety. But for families of the victims, there is no moving on. There is no closure. There is only absence. Birthdays will come, but the faces won't. Anniversaries will pass, but memory will ache. A child's empty chair at the dinner table. A room no longer bright with laughter. A parent's hand reaching into space where once there was a warm, breathing presence. The massacre at what was meant to be a toddler's birthday party ripped through more than flesh and bone. It tore through trust, through community, through the simple belief that a party is safe. It stomped on hope, replaced it with grief, and left scars that no plaster or paint can hide. And yet, somewhere in the rubble of what was lost, survivors gather. Families hug each other tightly. Neighbors ring bells softly at dusk. Community leaders call for justice, for answers, for change. Songs of sorrow and solidarity rise in candlelit vigils. People weep, but they also vow, we will not forget. This is not just a tragic news headline. This is a story of lives, young and promising, extinguished in a moment of unthinkable violence. It is a story of innocence stolen, of celebration turned to mourning, of childhood snuffed out like candlelight. As investigators dig deeper, combing through evidence and watching footage, the question echoes louder than any gunshot: why? Why target a birthday party? Why children? Why families? In Stockton, that question hangs heavy in the air. It shadows playgrounds and empty chairs. It whispers behind closed doors. It haunts quiet nights. And until the truth emerges, until justice is served, it will never fade. Because memory survives. Grief endures. And those who were lost will not be forgotten.